Hey everyone, Lori Wilson here, Blue Ocean Network, and we have another ocean changemaker at ADEX 2017. We've got Pete Bethune, and Pete Bethune, you are a crazy man.
I wouldn't say crazy, but I'm driven.
Well, okay, so Pete, he's actually a guy who is the fastest man across the ocean, around the world, on a biofuel machine. What is it? What kind of a machine? It wasn't even a sail.
It was a trimaran.
It was a trimaran.
And we set a record for a powerboat to circle the globe, 61 days. And the really cool thing was we ran the boat on biodiesel fuel made entirely from waste cooking oils.
So how did you get involved in this?
Came out of the oil industry, and then I was studying an MBA in Sydney. To finish the degree, I wrote a 20,000 word project on alternative fuels for road transport, and I became a convert to biodiesel, and I wanted to do something to promote it. So that was my first foray into sort of conservation. Really, up until then, all I'd done was live a pretty ordinary life and make some money. And so I built this cool boat, fueled it on biodiesel, set a record to go around the world. But what happened over that, I was on that boat for 3 years running promotions, and the marine conservation kind of got under my skin, and I started diving some of the world's most amazing places. And I saw bottom trawling, I saw illegal fishing, I saw some blasts, some dynamite fishing in Asia, and that stuff got under my skin, and it started to be, man, what, I need to try and do something about this. And I had this very cool boat at the time. Surely I can use that in a positive way. And then what I did, I joined up with that organisation, Sea Shepherd, and I went to Antarctica. Was involved with trying to disrupt the Japanese whalers in an event, and this was in early 2010. The Shonamari, their security vessel, ran over my amazing boat and basically destroyed it. And so now I no longer have a boat. So what I did was I boarded that same boat off a jet ski in the middle of the night, and they took me back to Japan as a prisoner. And what it did was I spent 5 months in a maximum security prison in Japan, but what happened with it, it galvanised public opinion, and it forced Australia and New Zealand into taking court action against Japan. Japan lost that case. It took 4 years for it to happen, but the announcement was made. I'll never forget it. I was in prison, and every day I was allowed one journalist to come and visit me for 12 minutes. And on this day, this journalist set up, and she said, this is probably good news for you. Australia has just announced they are taking Japan to the International Court of Justice. And I was in The Hague 4 years later when the verdict was announced. And I was, I'm not claiming responsibility for it, but I was one of the key players in a team that really was a catalyst in terms of galvanising that public opinion to say, hey, this Japanese whaling is wrong in Antarctica. Japan lost the case. They've since come back, and they're whaling they're taking a third of what they used to take. So it's a victory. It's not finished. There's still more work to do.
This is crazy stuff. This is fantastic. Now that you don't have a boat, but you've got a TV show.
Yeah. So one of the things when I was in prison in Japan, I had a lot of time to think. You're in your own cell, 23 and a half hours a day, and you're not allowed to talk, so you can do a lot of thinking. And I was involved in a show called Whale Wars in my time in Antarctica, and it showed for me the power that television has as a medium to engage the public and sway public opinion. So I decided to do my own TV show to promote issues that I think are important, and specifically different conservation issues, but not just about whaling, to do it on shark finning and marine protected areas and the pangolin and the porcupine and all these cool animals and wildlife that we have. I want to make a show to try and protect them all. But the challenge with conservation on TV, it doesn't really rate. If you just make a conservation show that says, we need to protect everything, people are like, man, it's really hard to get ratings. So you've got to come up with a story or compelling reason why people want to watch it. So what I did was I formed a team of former Spec Ops guys. So I've got Navy SEALs and Delta Force and SAS guys, and we take on what would normally be considered really hard targets in conservation. So we chase wildlife poachers and people that are fishing illegally and people that are using dynamite, and because it's quite high risk. Like, we've had several gunfights, and my guys have borne a lot of very challenging situations, but it makes compelling television. And so we don't need to go, a lot of TV these days, I can't watch reality TV because I look at it and it just all seems so fake to me. We don't have to fake stuff. We have these amazing stories going on, and we just tell it as it happens. And sometimes, it's a double-edged sword. Like, cameramen, they never last with me. The cameramen normally, I don't pay them enough. I had one cameraman once, so we snuck into a diamond mine in Namibia, and we were trying to film the seal clubbing that happens inside the diamond mine. And my cameraman, when we got ashore, and this is a high risk. Like, you get caught in a diamond mine in Namibia, you'll be shot, or you end up in prison and get HIV. Very difficult. So we didn't want to be caught by my cameraman. We had to swim a kilometre through this seal colony. Like, this is one of only 2 areas that great whites breach when they come out chasing seals. So we're dressed as seals, swimming in there. My cameraman, we're all shitting our pants, right? We got in on the coastline, and then we started getting our gear ready, and then there's these jackals come up. They start fighting over one of my guy's bags, and he goes up to grab his bag off these jackals, and one of them kind of, and he's like, bugger this, man. You don't pay me enough for this speed, I'm going back. So he got back in the water and swam out. We had a Zodiac waiting for us in case there were patrols on the beach waiting for us. The Zodiac was there waiting for us, and he swam back to Zodiac. And so in the end, Jack and I had to film ourselves. So the fact that it is quite difficult and dangerous at times. It's a challenge because I keep going through cameramen. Same with my guys. I've burned my guys out too, But good telly.
So are we winning the war here on illegal fishing, dynamite fishing?
The war is changing. We're not winning the war, but we are winning battles along the way. But it seems to be, it's a little bit like a Medusa's head. Every time you cut a snake off, there's another couple of heads go poking up. There's certain areas we are winning. A long way to go, though. Long way to go. Certainly, one of the great things at ADEX here, you go around and you see all these amazing dive sites that are largely preserved now. And 10 years ago, that wasn't happening. Like, a lot of these in the last 10 years have become more amazing. And I think the challenge for us is to move that on. It's all very well protecting a little wee marine protected area, but many of these sites, you go 3 or 4 nautical miles away, and it's crap. It's all gone. And so we need to try and shift the thinking from it's not enough to just protect some little wee MPAs. We need to move that on and start thinking about how can we protect all of our ocean. And we need to start fishing in a sustainable way, and we need to have decent enforcement and need to make sure that an animal is protected on CITES. You cannot allow countries to go lodging objections and fishing for it and things like that. So there's a long way to go. But you visit a place like this and you meet all these cool people who are doing wonderful work around the globe, and you do get enthusiastic. I think we can turn this around, but we have a long way to go.
I think you're right. We got a lot of hope here, and you give us a lot of hope.
Oh, I'm lucky to do my thing, and hopefully I can keep doing it in the future, and lots of other people all playing a role. I think the thing I try and say to people, we all have a role to play in this. Don't leave it to me and Rob Stewart and other people to go doing everything, but everyone has a role to play. And even when you go and support a local dive operator, in some ways you're protecting that marine fishery. If a place like Indonesia, they have this dive site, it brings in millions of dollars each year. That starts to have a value to the government, and the government then is more likely to step in and say, well, maybe we can extend this marine reserve, or maybe we can start putting better protection to stop the illegal fishing vessels that are fishing elsewhere. They see a monetary value for it, and so people just supporting the dive industry helps that along.
Thank you, Pete. You are not crazy. Well, maybe a little bit.
Thanks very much.
Okay.